Thanks again, everybody, for joining us for today's webinar. We're going to be talking about QuickDME, our asset management solution, digital evidence manager. My name is Larry Compton, digital media expert for Ocean Systems. I'm joined today by Vice President Charles Garino of Ocean Systems, and we're going to give you an overview of our asset management solution again, and the new features being released with version 3 that we're quite excited about. In regards to questions and answers, we always take questions and answers throughout the webinar. We try to answer them at the end of the webinar. On your webinar control panel, you'll have a questions panel there where you can submit the questions, and we'll, like I said, we'll get to those throughout, both electronically and at the end address those as well. So open the questions panel and feel free to submit those throughout the webinar. A little bit about Ocean Systems. It looks like some familiar names in the list, a few as well as a few familiar names, as well as some that are new names. So real quick, Ocean Systems, we've been around to this year is our 30th anniversary as a company. Ocean Systems, leading solution provider for forensic video solutions, forensic multimedia and digital evidence solutions. We've been on GSA contract schedule for now 20 years, since 1997, a pioneer, like I said, of forensic video solutions with our detective solution leading the way. And since then, of course, our product portfolio has grown substantially. We provide hardware, software, training, and professional solutions. And we like to think that we not only provide those solutions, but we build relationships with the end users. Some of our products in our portfolio, for those not familiar, purpose-built multimedia and digital evidence hardware solutions, including towers, rack mount systems, mobile and portable solutions, all custom-built for the application and purpose at hand. Not just our applications, but other applications. So computer forensic processing, things of that nature, mobile and device forensic processing. You can see a graphic of our tower system on the right-hand side of the slide that includes an optional write blocker built right into the tower system for forensic digital evidence applications, of course. Also, our Safe AV RAID storage, which is an expandable, scalable, high-speed storage solution for processing any type of evidence, storing any type of evidence, but very, very high speed, so very applicable to processing video evidence. Some of our competitors are very adamant about how important it is that their solutions can run on any old system, but obviously we hopefully all know that there are advantages to having proper hardware for processing, both from an efficiency standpoint and an accuracy standpoint in some situations. So our Safe AV RAID storage system provides like 4,800 megabits per second of speeds through SAS3 connected storage application, and it's expandable from an 8-bay chassis. You can continue now to expand that up to a total of 256 drives, and with 4 terabyte drives in the solution, that's over a petabyte of raw storage that you can expand to. And now we're moving to 6 terabyte drives, so we're even scaling that beyond that. All of our hardware is application tested and supported by us in-house, so you're not going to a call center. You're getting familiar names and faces and experts to support all of those solutions. Also, our Omnivore and Omnivore Field Kit in our product portfolio for uncompressed screen capture, both in the field and for processing and post-processing in the lab, dealing with proprietary digital video players and things of that nature. QuickInputAce, part of our product portfolio from Occam Video Solutions. It's a dynamic workflow engine for law enforcement, and we're pretty excited about one of the new features in QuickDME we're going to be showing off today, and that's the ability to send assets right from AccessDME to QuickInputAce for further interrogation and processing. Of course, ClearID, longtime leader in forensic image and video clarification within Adobe Photoshop, and now Avid Media Composer with our Detective 7.5 release earlier this year. We put all of the ClearID clarification filters in both platforms now. So if you're doing video clarification in Photoshop and or Avid Media Composer, you have the power of all of those ClearID filters. It's a non-destructive workflow, of course, including automation, hashing, verification reports, and various presentation capabilities such as the slideshow feature, which is simply an HTML file, so people don't need Photoshop to see your complete workflow. Detective, we've mentioned a few times, of course, our flagship product when we entered the forensic market, and Detective is both software and hardware, and can include the complete system and solution for your forensic video and forensic multimedia processing system. Avid qualified systems, some of you may recall, some of the names in the list I'm sure recall back in the day with Avid Media Composer, you used to have to bundle those, the purchase of Avid with Avid qualified systems. That's no longer the case. That changed in roughly 2007, I believe. However, we were the first system integrator for Avid in their Media Composer solution, help them port that and bring that to the Windows platform. So we certainly have the expertise to provide you with the necessary hardware to work both accurately and efficiently with Avid Media Composer. And then the topic of today, of course, our QuickDME Digital Evidence Manager, which supports all digital evidence files, secure, scalable, easy to use. One of the many features that our customers are very fond of is the ability to manage and share proprietary digital CCTV players. So we can bring in that digital CCTV evidence and play it multiple ways with AccessDME, including our QuickView player, but we provide the administrators the ability to manage and share those proprietary players across the solution. So whether we deploy it on a single workstation for a single analyst or technician, or across your entire network, it provides a nice way to associate a particular player with that proprietary digital CCTV file, and those associations are separate from your Windows file associations, and like I said, shared throughout the solution. New in version 3, cloud dissemination, derivative workflow, send to input ACE capabilities, some of the things that we'll be showing off here shortly. And one of the strengths of QuickDME is not only the price and starting point to get into the solution, but that it's completely customizable to match your policies and procedures. So you can customize various capabilities within the solution to match your existing policies and procedures, such as how your evidence is stored, case name, formats, crime types, things of that nature, report layouts, and more. And leverage that existing storage you have in your network, or again, put it simply onto a single processing station, a single computer for an individual deployment. And of course, we specialize in the hardware, so we can also provide a turnkey solution for the deployment across your network. Everything from the software to the hardware for the storage, etc. We also have a new single license pricing, so QuickDME Suite is now starting at $24.95 just to get in the door with the application and have all of that capability and efficiencies with the solution, that some of which we'll show off today. Real quick on a IT overview of the solution, QuickDME is designed to sit between the end user and the evidence storage and database, providing the administrator of QuickDME, the law enforcement administrator of QuickDME, complete control over who has access to the assets. And so we can lock down that storage and, of course, the database such that all of the auditing capabilities provided through QuickDME and security capabilities provide that capability in a networked environment or on a single solution. So from the database standpoint, there's no additional licensing required to leverage the database capabilities of QuickDME. We can leverage your existing SQL server deployed on your network. You can deploy SQL Express or even Microsoft Access on a single workstation. Storage capabilities, again, same thing. If you have storage in your network that's sufficient and expandable and redundant and that sort of thing, great. We can leverage that storage as well, including even plug-and-play NAS storage with recent updates to QuickDME providing that capability. As far as licensing goes, QuickDME default license type is dynamic floating licenses, which mean that if you buy a package of 3 licenses for QuickDME, those licenses are only in use when somebody's actually in the application. So they are returned to the pool as soon as they leave the application. You can have QuickDME deployed on hundreds of computers throughout your network and only pull a license when someone actually launches the application. So further reducing the overhead as far as the cost involved with deploying the solution in a networked environment. We can also use static licensing. The administrators can assign static licenses to individuals, such as lieutenants, captains, in the hierarchy, and or to machines and specific PCs, so that kiosks can be created, for instance, in the detectives unit, so that anytime someone comes into this particular kiosk workstation, there's a license always accessible and available for them for ingesting evidence. So another type of license and flexibility that QuickDME provides. You have the ability as the administrator to see all currently logged in users a number of ways, both through admin configurator and our Access DME application, which is where we browse and manage the evidence. The QuickDME suite is comprised of 4 applications. Quick Downloader is the application for ingesting evidence into QuickDME. It runs in the system taskbar. It's always running when the system starts. It notices any new drives that are inserted into the device. So you insert a CD or a USB drive, it's automatically going to detect that and come up and say, do you want to ingest evidence from this drive? The system by default can be set to maintain the exact folder structure when ingesting evidence. So in the case of proprietary digital CCTV systems where that folder structure is important to the playback of the video, for instance, DLLs and things of that nature have to be in a particular order in order to play. QuickDME can handle all of that and maintain that folder structure for further disseminations. We have preview windows during the ingest. Recently updated the preview window to provide some additional capabilities, not only thumbnail view, but also tree and list view now available in our preview windows when you're ingesting evidence. We can tag evidence, adding additional searchable metadata to photos and videos, such as descriptions, things of that nature, so that later on you can more quickly and easily find particular items. And detailed reporting capabilities, of course, throughout the solution, as well as with QuickDME, having various reports automatically generated during the ingest, should the administrator so choose. And with one of the big strengths that some of our users got into the application for was its automation in regards to ingesting evidence. So for instance, you can set different crime types or all crime types to automatically burn to disk any digital evidence ingested. So for instance, you've gone out and recovered from a digital CCTV system to a thumb drive. You come into your QuickDME kiosk, insert that thumb drive, and as part of the settings of the solution, the administrator has the ability to say, for these particular types of cases, or for all cases, I want it to burn a disk that's going to go into physical evidence, as well as be maintained within the QuickDME suite. And that process alone has saved many agencies a substantial amount of time with their technicians and analysts getting backed up requests to just burn evidence to disk for storage in their physical evidence. The other end user application that is deployed with the QuickDME suite is AccessDME, and this is really the meat and potatoes in regards to managing, viewing, searching, printing, burning, and copying evidence. End users are able to, based on their permissions and how the administrator sets that up for them, either by crime type and of course user. QuickDME or AccessDME provides high resolution and proxy views. So for instance, with images, it's going to show you a low resolution proxy by default, and users can choose to download that. That's part of a network bandwidth saving capability built right into QuickDME. Can often save a tremendous amount of network bandwidth, particularly when dealing with digital video files that can be, gigabytes and sometimes hundreds of gigabytes depending on what's being ingested. And we give you multiple ways, as I mentioned briefly, to view the evidence within AccessDME, both through our Quick View viewer, which we're going to show off, as well as our player management and associations, which we'll show off a little bit later today, which allows us to, quickly view it in the quick view, in many cases, even proprietary digital files. Some of the digital CCTV files that you're running into regularly out there, the ability to open it right up in the default player that's associated with that proprietary extension, and based on the end user permissions, the ability to open it in Windows default viewer on that particular system. So sending an AVI file to open with Microsoft's Media Player. And new in version 3 is our new Send To capabilities that we're going to show off here shortly as well. We can create and manage those file associations, of course, all through AccessDME. We can review asset metadata a number of different ways, as well as the audit logs for everything that's performed within QuickDME can be audited. Who's viewed it, who's burned it, given the permissions, who's copied it, uploaded it to the cloud, so on and so forth, all audited and viewable right within AccessDME. Again, we can burn to disks, so we can upload to the cloud, and much more. So we're looking forward to showing that off momentarily. Those are the two end-user applications, Quick Downloader and AccessDME. The other two components of QuickDME are really administrative related. The admin configurator for the QuickDME administrator to set up all of the rules and customization to match your agency's policies and procedures, provide that capability to individual users based on crime type, so on and so forth. We can import users from Active Directory or CSV files. We can even set up the solution to allow users to add themselves. And when that's the case, when the administrator allows that capability, if someone should add themselves to the solution by ingesting evidence, they don't have access to anything other than what they have ingested into the system until at a later date, QuickDME administrator assigns them permissions to view other assets. The system can automatically notify administrators when new user accounts are added. Using our new email alert feature introduced a few versions back, we're able to also have the users set up and manage their own custom email alerts for particular functions or things that happen within AccessDME, QuickDME. So for instance, if new evidence is ingested for a particular type of case, an email alert can be sent, so on and so forth. Purge capability available through the admin configurator as well as AccessDME given permissions. So we can set up auto purging, or administrators and those with permissions can manually purge. And all of that, again, is detailed in the audit log, including who purged, why they purged, when they purged, etc. And this is also, the admin configurator is also where you're going to manage your licensing and things of that nature for QuickDME. The fourth and final piece of the QuickDME suite is the database setup utility, which is really an administrative tool that's generally only used once when setting up the solution the first time, and this is where we define the database location, create the database, define the storage location, set up our email server for sending out those email notifications, configure our cloud storage should you so choose to use the new cloud storage and cloud dissemination features of QuickDME, and generate connection keys. A connection key is a simplified means of deployment so that you don't have to, end users wouldn't have to go through this setup process manually on all of the workstations that it's deployed to. It basically generates the connection key, which is a little exe file containing that information, database, storage, email, and cloud stuff, and that you run that on a client system, and it's automatically configured, and they can launch right into the applications and get to work. So what we're excited to show today are some of the new features coming in version 3. We've updated our QuickView video player within AccessDME, so we're now able to play even more proprietary video file types right through QuickView, and we're providing some additional information right within the QuickView video player as well, such as the frame types, audio metering, things of that nature, and you'll see some of the things that will be coming down the road, such as video stream or audio stream selection right within the QuickView player. So excited to show you that, as well as send to associations. This really opens up this solution to provide an enormous amount of efficiency and capability. We can create custom send to associations, or you as the administrator of the solution, to send different types of assets to third-party applications, including QuickInputAce. So we're able to simply right-click on an asset and send that right out to QuickInputAce or Photoshop or Adobe Audition or whatever third-party application might be of use in your particular workflow. So we're going to show that off here momentarily. Certainly expedites the interrogation and processing and makes things a lot quicker rather than having to copy the data out locally and then open it up in the application, etc., and then bring your derivative back into AccessDME, and we're going to show that derivative process as well. Cloud dissemination, another big one that has been requested for fully electronic dissemination. So rather than having to burn a disk or copy files to a thumb drive out of AccessDME for disseminating to prosecutors, defense attorneys, etc., we now have a way of doing fully electronic dissemination. Currently supports Dropbox, both personal or business accounts, and then we'll be releasing that capability with Amazon's Web Services, or AWS, and Azure as well in the near future. So we can leverage those in the solution. Some of the previous updates that you may have seen or may have missed, we added that NAS storage capability, so it's a simple plug-and-play capability to allow us to use typical NAS storage. And the thing there is that NAS storage typically has its own authentication, so that was a bit of a challenge, but we now have that built in so that we can work with that. Quick Downloader, we've updated a number of things in Quick Downloader, both the interfaces as well as some of the capabilities like the new tree and list views, new notification windows at the end of the download process to confirm that everything is completed successfully, and the ability to link to current sources. So for instance, if you are an individual who has access to the evidence storage location because you're the administrator, or maybe you're in a work group environment like I'm in my particular office, where I manage that storage and I have access to that storage, I can simply link to the files that I've copied to that storage location and ingest them into QuickDME for that complete auditing and detailed auditing capability, etc. We've got the new derivative workflow that was released a couple versions ago, which is basically the ability to take assets out create your derivatives, your enhancements, so on and so forth, and then bring those derivatives back into AccessDME and be able to quickly identify what is a derivative and what is not. We've updated the player manager capability to provide some auto association features so that we can, doing these associations, we can often just click a single button and it'll identify the player and create that association for you. We've added the capability to include notes or special instructions for players that may be a bit challenging to understand or how to use, etc. And introduced an image redaction feature as well. So creating derivatives of images that have been redacted is now you're now able to do right within AccessDME. So with that said, we're going to jump into a demo. I'm going to do a quick ingest, and let me just minimize this presentation. And I've got a thumb drive with some image files and a video file on it that I'm going to insert into my system. And QuickDownloader is going to automatically detect this thumb drive. I'm going to say I want to ingest evidence from the entire drive. And it's going to reach out. Again, I'm in a workgroup environment, so I'm on a client system on a Windows workgroup situation. It's going across the network, validating the storage location, connecting to the database, etc. And it's going to load up the interface here momentarily for me to begin ingesting that evidence either into a single case or even into multiple cases. And we've updated the multiple case ingest interface to make that much cleaner. But for the purposes of expediting this demonstration, I'm just going to do a single case ingest. And you can see our new downloader interface with the content preview, where we have thumbnail views, we have list views now, and a tree view, so you can see the entire folder structure. And you can select or unselect assets as required. I'm going to bring these assets into an existing case. And so I'm just going to type that case and tab, and it's going to auto-populate that case information that's already been entered into the system and move me right down to the download information fields. And you can see it's auto-populated the evidence location based on the case address. Now I can change it, but I'm going to just leave that the same. And then I enter my personnel ID as to who is ingesting this evidence and just tab through. Whoops, entered the wrong ID. And then just tab through my fields, who downloaded it, and any comments. Yellow fields are required, the white fields are optional. This yellow field is a custom field that I included that says, does this download include video? So I can then later search for any downloads in a particular case that include video. And my default settings include preserve folder structure, etc. Also new in the interface, it identifies the type of assets and the total size of the assets being ingested into the system. And as you can see, it's quickly going through and copying those across the network to the evidence storage location. I have it set to create a summary report of every ingest, and I'm just going to save that to my desktop so you can see it. It says, hey, the download completed successfully, we're good to go. So I click OK, and here's my ingest summary report that's created on every ingest, customized with your agency information, etc., the case information, the download information, the item summaries, so what types of assets were ingested and their total size. And this is what we refer to as the QuickDownloader summary report during ingest, or property sheet. So again, that's an optional capability and setting for the administrator to set up. I also got my email notification of that new ingest right away because I have a QuickDME alert set up that tells the system to send me an email anytime new evidence is ingested into the system. Includes all of the detailed information about who, what, where, and when was ingested. So I received my email alert there and launch the AccessDME application and get in and show you Apologize for the delay here. Access DME launching to get in and show you the new capabilities right within Access DME. While that's happening, let me open up the admin configurator and show you one of the new tabs. Like many of our solutions, it's laid out in a tabbed interface in the admin configurator. The new tab is pertaining to the cloud disseminations, so that the system administrator can manage all of those cloud disseminations right from admin configurator. See everything that's been uploaded to their agency cloud account, what case, who it was released to, passwords assigned to that particular upload, when it's going to expire, and the size. They can adjust when that upload is going to expire or not, delete items all right through the admin configurator now. So again, we can manage that in both admin configurator and in Access DME. And for some reason, my system has paused here. I apologize for the delay. Let me just try and get, there's Access DME. 1, 1, 2, 3. Enter my Access DME information to launch the application. And let me close out of admin configurator to free up some resources here and get Access DME open. Had some Windows updates this morning that hosed up my system, and I was a bit worried about that. And of course, death by live presentation. 1 second. What's going on here? Why
is it hidden behind somewhere?
It's not, no. Seems to be.
Never seen that one.
Yeah, me neither.
If you Alt-Tab, like cycle through the programs that are active, maybe?
Yeah, it's not even showing. 1 second here.
We got the video. You did.
Yeah. There it is.
Well, that's strange.
I don't know what was taking so long. Yeah, very strange.
Might be a WebEx thing.
Could be. In any case, we've got Access DME open. I'm going to do a global search and just search for all cases in the system, and quickly point out some of the new features in version 3 right within the interface. So first and foremost, I want to show the new video player or updated video player. So what we've done in the video player window is we've provided some additional information, such as frame type information that you can see here, as well as our total duration. We're reporting that in much more detail down to the microseconds, milliseconds, and then we also have, for future updates, the video and audio stream selection capability that we're working on, playback speed adjustments and returning to default playback speed adjustments, volume adjustments, mute, so on and so forth, the ability to basically see the audio volume meter right within the playback interface. So that's a new capability that we've introduced in the player, but probably even more importantly is the ability to play more proprietary file types, again, right within the QuickDME or Access DME Quick View window. So this is an AVR file. If we look over in the file metadata, we can see extension AVR. You see the icon here. This came from an EverFocus system. I've already created an association with the proprietary player for this type of asset. But you can see I can play it back within Quick View to get a quick look at what I'm dealing with. I can right-click and view that with the associated player. So it'll launch the default player for that application so that I can view and work with it right from this default player, providing I have the permissions to do so. And I can also now right-click and just send that out to something like QuickInputAce through the new Send to Associations capability. So this is something that we're very excited about, as it's, like I said, going to expedite those workflows, allowing you to get right into QuickInputAce and work with this. And you can see in QuickInputAce, it's showing all of the video streams within that particular file. And then once I export out of this, I can just bring that back in as a derivative, and you can see here I've done that on this particular upload in the past with just some of the images that I exported from that video. That's done by going to File, Add Derivative, and it brings up a very similar interface to our Quick Downloader. It allows you to browse to find your derivatives, add some notes about those derivatives, who's collected and uploading those derivatives, etc., and bring those derivatives right back into our application. So the updated video player, again, having that ability to just play back some things. So here's a .wva proprietary video file that I can play back now right within QuickView and have the ability to get a quick idea of what I'm dealing with. I've got a player association again, so I can go right out to our associated player to view that. If I had a Windows default association for that file type, it allowed me to do that as well for standard files such as MP4s and AVIs, so I can view it with my Windows default viewer if I want to. A number of ways to view with assets and work with assets now to get them in and out of the system much faster, expediting your workflows. So the updated video player, and that frame indicator and some other capabilities and features, one of the big things we wanted to show off, the new Send To capability. I've created a number of Send To associations, is done through our edit menu, providing you have the permissions. And much like the player manager feature, it allows you to create these associations based on or manage these associations right through AccessDME, and then set them up based on the file types defined in Admin Configurator. So here I've created one for sending audio assets or audio file types to Adobe Audition. I browse to the application, select the executable, and then add some description information. And now I have an association for audio files to be able to send to Adobe Audition. For this QuickInputAce association, I set up for both audio, video, and other. So, for instance, when we have proprietary digital CCTV file types that haven't been defined in the system, I still have that Send To association available to me to send it out to QuickInputAce for further interrogation and processing. I created one for Photoshop that's both image and video. So that's our new Send To association capability, being able to simply send assets right out of AccessDME, to third-party applications, work with those assets, and then bring them back into AccessDME as a derivative. And all of that process is audited along the way. So if we go over to our audit window, we can see that I've sent, this particular user sent the asset out to Adobe Audition right within the audit log. So Send To cloud dissemination. Let's take a quick look at cloud dissemination. I'm going to do that with a few photos. I'm just going to select a couple photos from this particular download, and we have our metadata information over here, detailed EXIF metadata on our photos. But I can now upload those assets directly to the cloud agency cloud account right through AccessDME. And here I've set it up with my Dropbox account, so this is shared across the entire solution, but I'm just going to note who I'm releasing this to Detective Jimmy Johns. I can password protect the zip file, because what Access DME is going to do is going to take the assets that you've selected, either from one or multiple cases, zip them into a zip file, and you can define a password to protect that zip file, and then define how long you want these assets available on the cloud storage location. So I'll leave it at the default 5 days. And do I want to include a hash report of those assets? So we have all of that capability built right into the cloud dissemination as well. If you have the ability to disseminate, in other words, the administrator has given you the ability to copy or burn, if you have the copy capability, then you have the cloud dissemination capability as well. And we can just go ahead and get those assets uploaded to our cloud account directly through Access DME. It'll zip those files out, and then upload those directly to Dropbox, and provide us with a link to share with whomever we're disseminating those assets to, so that we can just send an email to them saying, hey, here's the assets. I'll send the password separately, or what have you. So a much cleaner, easier way to disseminate entirely electronic. It's optional. It doesn't have to be set up by your agency, but it's going to leverage the agency's cloud storage. So if the agency has a Dropbox account, then everyone's sharing that agency's Dropbox account. And I can show you in my particular Dropbox, let me bring this window over here. I've done it such that it's defined, all of the assets are defined right within my Dropbox folder, apps and QuickDME disseminations. And then within there, all of my disseminations get uploaded. And you can see I got a little taskbar notification that this one was already uploaded, and it provides me with the link and the ability to simply copy and paste that link for sharing with end users. So that's how our cloud dissemination capability works. And as I briefly mentioned, we're also going to be expanding that to provide the agencies with the ability to leverage Amazon Web Services and Microsoft's Azure cloud storage. So if your agencies are utilizing those platforms, you'll be able to disseminate in much the same way through Access DME using those platforms. So that is about the end of my quick demonstration on cloud, the playback interface, updates, the send to association capabilities. Charles, anything you wanted to add?
Sure. You know, one thing that I know I'm very excited about with the additional new features is the idea that, you know, while this can be grown to a multi-user solution inside of just your unit or across your agency, now with these the dissemination, the send to InputAce and types of features, it really can be very beneficial to leverage just on your single workstation to help bring organization to, you're getting evidence from the very beginning, you're ingesting it and standardizing your workflow where, depending on what your SOPs are with your agency, whether you're going to automatically burn certain types of crime types and what hash levels you want to do that, and standardizing a folder structure for how you save everything on your system. And now with an expanded quick viewer, you can view many more files natively just to get a quick feel for things. You've already acquired a proprietary player and you know it is associated with that file. So now very easy to right click, send to that, and it doesn't support all file formats. And you're an InputAce user and you want to process it, check it back in, derivative, and just then, you know, disseminate it when you need to. And then at some point, if you want to grow it, it's very easy to grow. Order another license and we give you a new unlock key, and as long as you're on connected systems on the shared network, then you start to grow it throughout your agency. So I think that these new features are kind of bring it more from ingest to dissemination in a way that makes it a very powerful tool to use just within your own workflow just for you. One of the other things is you can send multiple files across at one time to input. So if you had 10 files you were going to work on in that case, and that ingest, and you wanted to send them across, they come up as this new header called imported media for people that are already InputAce users. The playlist right here, if you had other files already in it and you had sent them from AccessDME over to InputAce, they would just make a new header called imported media, and then you just interrogate them and view them. The other small little thing is if you are using it on your system and you don't want every time you plug a thumb drive in for the quick downloader to launch, that's actually a right-click setting that you can turn off the auto-detect feature in that, and you can just manually browse to wherever the media location is. So very exciting. This release, I think, is really kind of bring the whole solution together. From where it started as really just a crime scene photography type of a tool. We've added in a lot of pieces in the engine for handling video, storing it properly, auditing it, and now with all these great new features like if you are using it in a hub and spoke environment with multiple licenses, the notification, you can have administrators have notification levels, but even individual users can have them. So when you log in, you can set your notification structure for the types of things that you want to get triggered by email. So let's see. So we had a couple of questions, Larry. One of them was about splitting audio from video. That could be done. I don't believe that's native inside of AccessDME, but very easy to do. In a third-party app, an audio app inside of InputAce. Omnivore Viewer lets you do that to Omnivore files. So there's a number of ways you can split the audio out.
Right. So just to clarify what they're just to clarify what they were asking is, if the file has audio and video, can we just send the audio out through the Send to Association? Not currently. So you're going to send the full asset out, but as Charles mentioned, of course, the third-party application, whether it's Adobe Audition or InputAce or whatever you're sending it to, typically is going to allow you to work with those assets individually. I understand, the reasoning why you might want to do that, so that you can, not have to send out the video side to reduce the file size, for that. But that's not there just yet. Let's see, does AccessDME feature a codec player database that can be independently searched and added to? Not yet, Martin. We have certainly, we have that knowledge database. And we are looking to integrate that in a couple of different ways. Certainly we're doing it through our Quick View player as far as codec and playback. But as far as the database capabilities, we've discussed working that into the solution as well, so you can do some searching right through AccessDME to that database. So if you're looking for the SN40 codec, or you're trying to find out what software do I need to play back a .wva file, we're looking to provide that searchable listing probably through our help menu going forward, so that you can do that there.
Actually, one thing I think is worth showing one more time, Larry, is if you go to your EverFocus stuff and you can see.
Sure.
So here, when we're looking at the Quick View natively trying to display this video file, you can pretty easily tell the aspect ratio of this is a little off. So it's a Quick View. You're reading it natively, and this is part of the power of having the player manager with the file associations, is just how easy it is. We've already made this association. It knows that it's the type of media that needs to be played by this player. If anybody that was on a multi-license solution ingested more media, the associations are already there. If that other system didn't have the player on it, that's okay. It's going to run it from, it's going to pull it from the database and it's going to run it. But then you can see in its native player, the aspect ratio looked correct, right? So there you just open that up again. But now we want to go do something with it. So now we're going to send it to InputAce. The aspect ratio would be stretched again, but now in InputAce we have many tools to process the video. We can do a node that's a resize node. We could process multiple clips that we had sent across to the playlist and then get it in the right aspect ratio, run a stabilize, that type of thing, process it to a QuickTime format, check it back in as a derivative, and that's a very nice kind of step-by-step review of kind of how you could utilize these different features that are in the system now.
Right, and that isn't a shortcoming. Just to to further explain that, like for instance, the way that QuickView is displaying this in the QuickView player isn't a shortcoming of the QuickView player. This is a proprietary container, a proprietary file type .avr from EverFocus. And as with most digital CCTV systems, each channel can be set up to be stored at different sizes, different frame rates, and things of that nature. This particular system, the AVR file actually contains multiple channels, and one of those channels, this particular channel, is stored as 704 by 240. So if we go into Access DME and we look at that, we can see, or excuse me, InputAce, we can see that InputAce is seeing exactly how that data is stored to disk, 704 by 240. And so that's the way that particular channel is playing back, because that's the way that particular channel was stored. The other channel in that file was stored as 352 by 240. Over here we can see stream 1, which shows 352 by 240 within the QuickDME interface. So just a little bit of further explanation on that regarding the QuickView and why QuickView is showing it that way. Any other questions? It looks like we got.
You know what? We have a split second here, Larry. Since you do have input open real quick, and it is a very powerful combination to have even a single seat of QuickDME and InputAce. Could you just do a brief little overview? Maybe some of the people on here aren't familiar with some of the things you could do. So real quick, InputAce is it's a standalone program that's going to launch. There's modes over on the left. We're looking at interrogate. Just even if you weren't using QuickDME to send the files here, you could drag them into this playlist. It's got its viewing module. And then Larry looks like he's about to click the workflow, and that's where you're going to go in. You're going to start to get be able to drop down filters, crop, blurs, resizes, and this is just a quick little resize. You can take one file, you could take a number of files, and send them into the resize, and you'll get a quick little preview there. Once you put in the correct dimensions, he's just setting it up to interpret the resizing, and boom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, a real quick way to process video. There's many strengths of InputAce, obviously, and I think many on the webinar today are very familiar. But a very quick, easy solution for working with and even clarifying video evidence, and very strong application for dealing with proprietary digital CCTV evidence, and those proprietary containers. There's intelligence built in, as in this case, you can see it knew that this proprietary AVR file had 4 streams inside that container. It knew how to parse out those 4 streams, and it knew how to work with each of those 4 streams. So that's something that, you know, most video applications out there, you know, 99% of them in existence from Avid, Adobe, Microsoft, and other manufacturers are only going to deal with the proprietary, or excuse me, the primary video and primary audio streams. Most of them won't even be able to tell you there are other, you know, streams within that file. So QuickInputAce, a very powerful tool to have in your toolbox for that aspect alone. I see some other questions coming in. Does AccessDME, oh, I've got that one. Can this interrogate with Avid's Avid Media or Avid Nexus environment? Hash manage Avid MXF files related to a particular case? Yes. So we can leverage AccessDME in an Avid Nexus environment. For those not familiar with Avid Nexus, it's the next evolution of Avid shared storage, high-speed, fully redundant shared storage solution for Avid Media Composer and other platforms. In fact, Avid is quite proud to announce that it's you know, that it's a very powerful platform for Adobe Premiere as well. In fact, and had them on the stage recently at one of their events. But in any case, yes, it can integrate and leverage Avid Nexus, of course, as long as, you know, we can see that storage on your network. Then QuickDME can be set up to leverage that. Now, we don't have any capabilities that are specific to dealing with Avid MXF files built into QuickDME per se, but you can leverage all of its capability for getting, you know, files into and or managing all of your digital evidence, you know, in an Avid Nexus environment. All right. So real quick before we take off, seeing that was the last question, I just wanted to point out some of the web resources available in regards to all of our solutions. Certainly our website at oceansystems.com. We have some QuickDME videos and things of that nature up there. You can get immediate proposal requests right online. Our Twitter account at oceansystems.com, which is where all of our latest updates and news is distributed first. We send it out to Twitter when we have new releases and things of that nature. Our online store and forums now as well. So if we pop over to our main account, you'll see a store link. I'm on the Asset Manager QuickDME page right now. So the news, specs, videos, FAQs, etc., proposal requests, all of our solutions on our main website on the left-hand side set up in very similar fashion to provide these capabilities. And then our store website, which provides secure online shopping as well as our forums and a blog and things of that nature right within the online store. So definitely wanted to point that out. And of course our training and event listings on both of those platforms there as well. Thanks everybody for taking the time to join us today. We greatly appreciate it. We hope we're very excited about some of these new capabilities to expedite workflow and asset management. And greatly appreciate you taking the time to join us to learn more about it. Please do not hesitate to reach out to us with any questions. We'd be happy to do, as always, get those answered for you as quickly as possible.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day, everybody. Take care.
Ciao.